I just want to mention one thing. We usually lay wreaths after the speaker, but today, since there's no ground to dig into, we put the wreaths up here, and the big one here will go up to Veterans Park after the program. But I'd like to thank Jan Powers for redoing the wreaths this year, and she did a wonderful job, so let's give her a hand for that. And now I'd like to introduce Lou Guthrie. It's an Air Force Vietnam veteran that just got done with the honor flight about a month ago. And so, my other guys, Lou, come up and have a good time. Oh, you don't have to be short. We're fast today.
Okay.
10 minutes.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor,
Good morning.
councilmen, members of the American Legion, the award-winning band. I knew you won something. I didn't know what it was. But then somebody told me you won state. That's quite an honor. VFW, Tim, and citizens of Kewanee. I'd like to say, first of all, I'm honored to be here this morning, and I'm honored to be the guest speaker this morning. I won't be long, so you don't have to take a nap or anything like that. Maybe don't take too many pictures. But we're gathered here on this Memorial Day to honor those who have given, as President Lincoln said in his Gettysburg Address, the last full measure of devotion. Remember those words, the last full measure of devotion, because that's what this is about. Since that time, we have had numerous others who have paid the ultimate price, as the mayor has said, for their love of God, family, and country. I stand before you here today, having seen many who have gone before us. I've seen the agony of a crew chief standing there when his fighter jet doesn't come back and his pilot is gone and he doesn't know what to do. Bewildered, standing there when everybody else's aircraft comes back and they have none. Many who are still on the battlefields around the world with the words of duty, honor, country. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You already did the speech for me. As they long for the green, green grass of home. Because let there be no doubt about it, they really want to be at home. They really don't want to be where they're at. But they have to be where they're at because they're required to be where they're at. Many who were courageous enough to go the last mile of the way for their fellow man or woman. Many who will say, why did they do it? Why? What gives a person the intestinal fortitude to bear arms for their country? There is something within us that compels us to stay in the fight, even when the odds are greatly against us, even when you think you cannot win. This is something for the kids to remember. Just when it seems like you can't do it, you can do it. You keep pressing on and you persevere. Many of you will never see war up close and personal, and hopefully you never will. It takes a special person to stand up against all odds. This is why I'm in American Legion, post number 31, Kewanee, Illinois. Because we take every opportunity to not only remember the fallen, but quite often we are at the grave sites of veterans who have given the last full measure of devotion. Before we go much further, I'd like to define what devotion really is. Devotion is love, loyalty for a person, normally our family, an activity. We look at it like the American way of life, or a cause. Our cause is freedom and democracy. As in their courage and devotion to duty never wavered, is what the example was. Recently, I had the privilege to go on an honor flight from the Quad Cities. From beginning to end, we were given an opportunity to see the monuments dedicated to the fallen of this great nation. The Lincoln Memorial, the Vietnam Wall. Some of the veterans got out and took out pieces of paper and scratched off names that they knew of people they lived with, sat down to dinner with us, and Mary said they would rather have been at home, but they gave that last full measure of devotion for their country. The Korean Memorial, the statue of the Marines raising the flag atop Mount Suribachi in Iwo Jima. If you ever read anything about that battle, it was a horrendous battle. And amen, when they got ready to go up to the top of the mountains, they raised a little flag to show that they had gotten there. The World War II Memorial, amen. And the changing of the guard at the tomb of the unknown soldier. The tomb of the unknown soldier is a very serene place. That's the only way I can say it. It's serene. There's no noise, it's quiet. The guards come out, 3-hour tour of duties. They're inspected from their boots down to the brass buckles on their uniforms, and they march that trail for 3 hours at a time. Dedication, a measure of honor, a measure of devotion, but not the full measure of devotion. Fitting memorials for the fallen. And no doubt there are memorials today at each one of these monuments dedicated to the fallen, for those who have borne the brunt of the battle. Amen. This brunt of the battle was written on this VA clinic in Maywood, Illinois. I discovered that the full measure of devotion does not end when one leaves the field of battle, but it continues after the soldier, the sailor, the Marine, the Coast Guard, and the airmen return home. The selfless dedication in the VA hospitals around the country for those who still carry the scars of battle as wounded warriors. Some of them will never be the same. Some of them will never have that arm or that limb or whatever is wrong with them to come back again. They've borne that brunt of the battle. Those service organizations like the American Legion, this VFW, who continue to carry the torch of freedom for those who are no longer able to bear the brunt of the battle. Dedicated to never letting us forget those who have given it all, like it says on the Vietnam Memorial. These men and women who stand in the freezing cold cemeteries to give 21-gun salutes. Oh, you know because you've been there with me. And carefully fold flags to give to the next of kin with the words from a grateful nation. It always makes me tear up when they do that and they play taps right behind it. Yes, these band of brothers and sisters who are still devoted to the cause of ensuring our veterans are given farewells that is decent and in order. I salute them today as their time to give the last full measure of devotion has not come yet, but I know they will meet it with the courage and conviction that they have displayed for those who have gone on before. So today, have a meaningful Memorial Day and never forget those who have given and are giving their last full measure of devotion.